Zihuatanejo City is a resort located on the Pacific Ocean coast, which is located about 480 kilometers southwest of Mexico City. Zihuatanejo is the place where experts have pointed out the possibility of damage caused by earthquakes and tsunamis. How does a tsunami occur? When the earthquake occurs under the seabed will be raised by the plate motion. Sea levels also shifts along with this, and it propagates a big wave as a tsunami. This is a simulation that estimates tsunami damage. There was not much immediate damage after the earthquake. However, when the tsunami arrived about 12 minutes after the earthquake, it was found that the damage spread to the city at once in the next 5 minutes. When SATREP started the Disaster Prevention Education Program in Zihuatanejo in September 2016, the effect gradually changed the awareness of the people in the city. As of 2021, various schools in Zihuatanejo have instructed students on disaster prevention education. The importance of disaster prevention in Zihuatanejo has spread significantly in the last few years. The principal of the elementary school talks about the new changes made due to the disaster prevention program. Children were previously ignorant. They didn't realize that they were doing it to save their lives. Yet over time, the introduction of the new disaster prevention program has greatly affected children's awareness. Zihuatanejo has begun a new disaster drill. And this is Rafael, a staff member of the Disaster Prevention Department who was at the center of the scene. Rafael has been proudly instructing the citizens on disaster prevention for years. This is Associate Professor Nakano of Kyoto University, who came from Japan as a disaster prevention expert for the SATREPS project. How did he feel about the initial response of the disaster prevention effort in Zihuatanejo?
シワタネホに行って一番最初に感じたことは、津波がそこに起こりうるとは誰も思っていないっていうことですね。まず最初はここにも地震とか津波っていうのが起こりうるんだよっていうことを知ってもらうこと。でさらに大事なのはきちんと備えていれば避難が十分にできるんだよってことを伝えていくことかなというふうに思いました。なので一番最初に私がシワタネホ防災局の人たちと始めたのは、もうとりあえず、多くの小学校中学校を回って多くの先生方あるいは小学生中学生に地震と津波の話とその対応方法に関する授業をするっていうことでした。
And as you can see from the photos of the disaster prevention training held in 2012, the disaster prevention education in Zihuatanejo up until then had been conducted entirely by expert guidance. It was a one-sided instruction called a top-down method. So why did they change from this top-down method to a participatory approach? We interviewed Dr. Yamori, the leader of the SATREPS Project's C2 group, who is a professor at Kyoto University.
一言で言うと、一方向的トップダウンで物事を進めると柔軟性がなくなるっていうことだと思いますね。予想外のことであるとか、想定外のことが起こってしまうと、対応することが非常に厳しくなるっていうところが、ナンバーワンのウィークポイントだと思います。日本でもその東日本大震災の時に避難訓練をある意味で熱心に繰り返していたがゆえに、そのやり方でしか対応できなくって、で実際には 不幸なことですけど、そのやり方ではうまく対応できなかったということが起こってしまって、大きな被害が出たようなところもありますよね。そういう意味でトップダウン一方向的な、教育の仕方の、ウィークポイントナンバーワンは、柔軟性がなくなるということだと思います。2つ目は長続きしないということでしょうね。ウィークポイントナンバー2はね。でそれは、やっぱり人は自ら進んで自分で工夫をして、やった甲斐があったなとか楽しかったなとか自分たちの工夫が、うまく生きてきたなというような手応えを持って、防災に限らず取り組むことが大事で、それをトップダウン一方向でやると、短距離走ではね多少の効果が出たとしても長続きするか、そこが問題だと思うんですよ。で今2つトップダウン型のやり方の欠点2つ言いましたよね。柔軟性がなくなると長続きしないと。でもこの2つのウィークポイントって防災にとっては致命的ですよね。なぜならば、次にどんなことが起こるか最終的にはなかなか確定できてない、予想しきれないっていうのが災害に備えるっていうことの本質じゃないですか。つまり柔軟性が育ってないとどうしてもうまくいかないところ出てきますよね。でもう一つ長続きしないも次の災害が1週間後だって分かってるならいいですよ。でも場合によりますけどひょっとしたら100年後かもしれないんですよね。大きな地震とか津波って、いわゆるリターンピリオドってやつね、次にやってくるまでの時間が1世紀ぐらいはあるようなものいくらでもありますね。でそう思うとやっぱり長続きするタイプの教育を行うっていうことが大事で、そういう意味でもトップダウンのアプローチは、やっぱりちょっと限界あるかなと思いました。一言で言うと参加的なアプローチというやり方ですよね。もう少し噛み砕いて言うと、例えば津波からの避難という課題を考えるとき、最終的にその人が避難をするっていう当事者自身が、どうやって避難すればいいのかを考える仕組みを整えること、これが大事だと思います。でもちろんやっぱり仕組みっていうところがすごく大事で、これ皆さんの問題なんだから、皆さんが当事者なんだから、皆さん自身で考えてくださいっていうメッセージを送り込むだけでは人ってじゃあ自分で考えようっていうふうにはならないじゃないですか。自分で考えるための知識も必要だし、考えてみようっていうモチベーションも必要だし、考えてみるための教材というんでしょうかね、お道具というか、そういうツールも一緒に整えてあげないとなかなか自分たち自身で考えるっていうスタイルは実現しないかなと。そういう意味で、どうやれば、トップダウンでないアプローチが実現するかといえば、当事者が自ら考え試してみることのできる、そして試した結果どうなったか、そのフィードバックも得られるようなツールとか場とか仕組みを整えてあげる、これがポイントだと思います。
At the time, Rafael, who had been instructing the conventional top-down method as an expert, started working on the new participatory disaster prevention education in 2016, even though he was confused by the significant change. A teacher participatory evacuation drill was planned at the Vicente and Guerrero Elementary School. Rafael, an assistant professor Nakano, held a workshop for teachers to think about evacuation sites and routes, and conduct evacuation drills safely. Next, they threw an information session for evacuation drills outside the school for parents. In Mexico, children who are in school do not usually leave the campus for safety reasons, so it was necessary to have a parent information session when conducting evacuation drills outside the school. An evacuation drill outside the school was held, which the teachers thought and planned. Through the experience and feedback of this participatory evacuation drill, the attitude and consciousness of the teachers have changed to spontaneous, independent ones. Bosai means disaster prevention in Japanese. And this bosai duck is an educational material from Japan that children can learn while playing. In order to produce the Zihuatanejo version of bosai duck that reflected the opinions of the teachers and actually used it in class to check the reactions of students and proceeded with the completion. Then, Production Jag was produced as the Zihuatanejo version of the bosai duck. Rafael and the Disaster Prevention Department actively asked the opinions of the students in various disaster prevention classes and workshops. The team asked the students for opinions about producing it in the disaster prevention classes and workshops. This did not only give them knowledge, but also raise their awareness. Rafael began to feel the potential for the new participatory education system and gradually started to change his education style.
¿Qué vamos a hacer antes? Hablo de nuestra casa, ¿eh? No hablo de la escuela, hablo de nuestro hogar. Perfecto.
This is Rafael when he completed a tsunami evacuation drill at an elementary school in La Puerta in March 2018. It was very good. It was my first time training, but I think it was a success. I found out that we could evacuate before tsunami arrived. There are some points that need to be fine-tuned, but I would like to continue to improve the inadequate points together with the teachers. What needs to be improved in today's training is ensuring the safety of children when crossing major roads. There are risks, so teachers must think about how to ensure the safety of their children. That is the only thing that we should improve in terms of the safety of children. And I would like to continue to carry out disaster prevention activities together. The training today was very good. It also depends on whether it is in rainy season. As you said, we have to think about a big alternative to the evacuation route. Of course, we should check the evacuation route together, and if the evacuation route is narrow or if the water is accumulated during the rainy season. The road on this side wouldn't be so full of water. It is better to have two options for evacuation routes. Two options, right? Around the time when the method of participatory disaster prevention was gradually being put into practice, Rafael had the opportunity to learn about disaster prevention education in Japan in October 2019. In the participatory disaster prevention education held in Kochi, children and students can be seen proactively committing to disaster prevention. This is a disaster prevention class at Saga Junior High School in Kuroshio, Kochi, which Rafael visited. Here, students walk around the city, find risks, and create disaster prevention maps. They also share it with the city and local residents and participate in specific measures. In an interview in Zihuatanejo after the fieldwork in Japan, Rafael said, "I thought it was very important for the elementary school side to determine dangerous areas. It is very interesting to be able to create a risk map and share it with the local community.
Poder hacer mapeos de riesgos, poder hacer análisis de riesgos y compartirlos con la comunidad es muy interesante."
I am proud that Zihuatanejo and Guerrero are working together with JICA as a team with everyone at Kyoto University.
El hecho de trabajar en equipo con ustedes, con la Universidad de Kyoto, con Senapred, con JICA, con PC del Estado y el municipio de Zihuatanejo, con ustedes.
Assistant Professor Nakano at Kyoto University, who continued participatory lessons with Rafael in Zihuatanejo and accompanied him in the fieldwork in Japan, looks back on before and after participating in the fieldwork and talks about the changes of disaster prevention in Zihuatanejo.
子どもたちが、防災の、学習者でありそして発信者であるっていう、そういうことを見てもらったんですね。でその時にラファエルさんが言ってくれたのは、玄太が言ってることがやっと分かったって言ってくれたんですね。どうやら、その私が言っていることとかあるいはなんで先生方に避難ルートを考えて、もらう参加型の方が、専門家が、避難ルートを指定するよりもいいのかっていうことが、 うまくこう腑に落ちてなかったようなんですね。でもその腑に落ちる瞬間が日本でのその研修にあったということだというふうに思います。日本で、こう参加型の防災教育、子どもたちが自分たちで考えて、そしてその考えたことを発信していくようなスタイルを目の当たりにして、やっぱり日本の研修を終えた後、ラファエルさんの防災教育に対する考え方も本当にこうガラッと変わったなというふうに思います。
From this experience, his views of education for children has changed, and he learned from the participatory approach that involves children and students has a positive impact on disaster prevention actions in the local community. With his confidence, Rafael decides to introduce the methods he learned in fieldwork in Japan in order to make disaster prevention education in Zihuatanejo more student participatory. After Rafael returned to Zihuatanejo from Japan, he immediately began to put this participatory method into practice. Rafael set out to create a disaster prevention map with the student participatory method at Eva Samano Junior High School.
Zihuatanejo の小学校とかで、防災マップ作りを取り入れたりとか、そこにはやっぱり子どもたちが自分たちで考えるっていうプロセスを大事にしたりとか、そこにはこうかつて、よく見られていたグリットンのラファさんの姿はなくて、むしろ、Zihuatanejo の子どもたちと、共にこう学んでいくようなそういうスタイルのラファさんが見えたなと、そういう大きな変化があったかなというふうに思います。
After that, he continues to promote participatory disaster prevention classes at schools and local communities in Zihuatanejo. Over the last 4 years, Rafael has provided disaster prevention lectures to a total of more than 10,000 students, teachers, and local residents. Also, while Japanese experts in the SATREPS project cannot visit Zihuatanejo, he and his colleagues are promoting and disaster prevention education on their own.